Hey everybody, welcome to Obscurities in Miniatures. You know what? I had a lot of fun the last time I put a big bag of Victrix models together, so I figured, you know what? It's time for another. Today we're going to take a look at the Germanic Warriors, which I will admit I forgot actually existed as a kit. Now I know Victrix has a really nice set of Gauls in both armored and unarmored versions, as well as naked ones if you want to go that route. And if you really want to see me go that route, by all means, you're more than welcome to encourage me down there in the comments below if you want a bunch of naked Victrix, Europeans running around on your screen and hopefully not getting censored by YouTube. But in the meantime, let's take a look at the Germanic kit. So I saw this one and I was like, oh, this is so up my alley because number one, you could use them as Gauls. They've got the torques. You could paint them, they're not like totally different looking in terms of weapons or equipment or anything like that. I don't think there's any skyclad guys. I mean, even looking at the sample models, I mean, he's got like looted Roman equipment on, which is totally appropriate. But I bet you could get away with using these as Gauls if you really wanted to. And I think you can probably just hand wave them away as any kind of, Western European barbarian tribe. So why not, right? Let's take a look at the actual sprues. There's a bunch. But that's always the case with these Victrix kits. There's a bunch of stuff. And that's half the fun. Can I get it out of the bag, though? I don't know. Okay, we did it. Yay, okay. So the first sprue in my hand here looks to be... I'm going to assume this is the command sprue because we've got dudes actually wearing armor. There's our looted Roman armor. And then there's all sorts of standards. That's always fun. Check out the head options, though. Okay, we're looking like we're wearing looted Imperial Roman helmets. Some of these are more Gaulish in design. Spears, javelins, swords, lots of scabbards. I like having lots of scabbards. A lot of them. And then a wide selection of shields. Only one axe. That's a bit of a disappointment. I love axes. But then again, if you have access to Victrix's Viking kits, you'll have plenty of axes as well. Okay, this looks like the main warrior sprue that I am about to unleash on you. Yeah, I'm just going through. Okay. We'll set that down there for a moment. How many of these do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 main sprues here. How many bodies we have here? 8 bodies. So you got, what, at least 50 guys, it looks like? At least? Oh, no, 60. Can't go wrong with that. So this is the main sprue. Dudes in loincloths. Dudes in just pants. They do have shoes, though, so if you wanted to use them as, Dark Age Irish, that might work out well. Dude in furs. Come on, that's what we need more of. Another shirtless guy, another loincloth body, some tunics, which you could probably get away with using as just about any kind of, from ancients to Dark Age era fighters. Sadly, or thankfully, depending upon how you look at things, there are no skyclad warriors on this sprue. Again, a large variety of shield types. That's kind of nice. Plenty of smaller javelins, longer spears, more scabbarded swords. Axe, club. Just a big old gnarled wooden club. Now that is a part that I need more of, and you can guarantee I'm going to use every single one of those from this kit. They are all going to find a home on my Germanic tribesmen. A couple of ponytails, it looks like. Hands with knives, hands with swords. And then a very fun, visually interesting assortment of shaggy-headed warriors. And not a single clean-shaven warrior among them. As it should be, right? So honestly, I like the fact we've got the clubs. We've got much more limited guys in armor, unless, you want to go hunt down a couple extra command sprues, but, that might not be a bad idea if that's what you're into. You do have a couple of cloaks here, so if you want your fur-laden Conan-esque guy in a cloak with a club or a big Aquilonian sword, hey, you can do that now. We do have an extra axe right here for throwing or what have you. So it looks like a nice sprue. Definitely looks like a nice sprue. I'm going to be curious to see... that's what I was wondering. How are the arms going to work for either the shirtless or tunicked ones? And all the tunicked bodies, or clothed bodies, I should say, you only are going to be connecting the hand, kind of like the War Games Atlantic Irish, whereas all of the shirtless guys, you're going to connect the full arm there. So, interesting to see that. Doesn't look too complex otherwise, so if you guys don't mind, I'm going to go build a bunch. Maybe we'll paint up a couple. I can't guarantee or promise anything at the moment when I'm filming this, but we'll definitely see how things turn out. Sit tight. Alright, we did a pretty good job of starting up our Germanic horde of barbarians here, and I gotta say, it was a fun kit to build. First of all, like we said earlier, you got a bunch of practically naked warriors, and there is that option if you want the naked ones. Look at those mold lines, and yep, I'm not even going to clean them. I'm just going to leave them there. One of the command troops, you'll notice he's a bit stockier and heavier, and one of the neat things about these is some of the command guys are just straight up wearing looted gear from dead Romans. A nice touch. Some of them are pretty large. This dude, this is like big chieftain's body. I don't know if that's the head that's intended for it. I don't care, but that's what he got. I mean, that's a privateer 30mm base that he's sitting on top of there. We'll get some good size comparisons in just a moment. Again, nice looted Roman gear. I guess the Roman gear would be a bit of a downfall if you wanted to use them for a more generic setting, and I gotta say, of most of the Victrix kits, I think this set in particular, maybe with a close tie with the Dacians, you can really get a lot of use of. I mean, yeah, some of the shields are very specific to the time, but these more generic round ones, and one of the cool advantages, obviously, of plastic kits is, plenty of bits to customize and trick your kits out with. Lots of shirtless dudes. And to me, with the furs and the leathers and stuff, I think you really got a nice set of wild, vagrant barbarian types. Be aware, some of the spears are a bit thin. Much thinner than some of the earlier Victrix kits. You can see just the size and thickness there. They do stack up nicely. Of course, I think the eras that these two would have fought are completely different, but that's okay. Plenty of action poses. Bracing their shields. And the only armored bits are going to be on the command sprue. Of course, what you could do also is mix and match with like the armored Gaelic sprue. I think that would make some fun potential there. They're just hairy dudes. Can't bother with a shirt, but we're going to bother with a cape. I had painted a couple, and actually this video took a long time to get finished due to the fact that we'd painted a few and I didn't know where I put them. Found a couple. Again, just wild looking dudes. I don't know what he was trying to accomplish with the woad looking stuff there, but he did it. He went there. Cape and a diaper. Best way to go into combat. One that's sparkle trout painted. I believe at the time he told me, give me one that's wearing next to nothing. So I had to oblige him. with a fire fort. Whoa. Let's get it in nicer than that if we're gonna start comparing things. So yeah, if you go with the smaller bases, obviously you're going to want to make sure that everything is roughly compatible with each other. But size-wise, you know, they stack up pretty nice with the fire forge stuff. Obviously with some Romans, probably be a good idea. Actually, with those bases, a painted, these are both Warlord, Republic and Imperial guy. You can see with those bases, actually it kind of works out okay. With the larger bases, he stands a good head taller than both of those types. Grabbing some other Romans. Some Victrix guys. Obviously an auxiliary. With and without furs. They're going to look pretty good together. Grabbing a Dacian model we had handy. I knew I had one here. Looks pretty good there. Even on the smaller base. If you wanted to mix in some fantasy bits, perhaps. The Mantic Basilians, I don't know if they would work really in terms of mixing parts together, but, you know, if you wanted to have them on the table in some kind of mixed units, or have just vagrant hobo types running around with your, you know, flashy paladins, well, it could work. The Dark Age Irish from Wargames Atlantic, actually, I think would be a really nice fit. Both in terms of the poses and the lack of footwear, I think, and even the shield design, I think that the bits from both of those kits would actually complement each other quite well. Could pull in some Dacian stuff, but most of the Dacians, at least from Victrix, are much more nicely dressed and have much better gear. So I don't know if I would really want to do a whole lot mixing and matching with those two. Grabbing an old Wargames Factory kit, you can see actually. I think these might be another fun one to try messing with. The bodies are a little bit smaller, but in terms of the heads and arms, I think it'd be a good match. Looking at like this guy right here. I mean, even obviously the poses are similar, but it's only so many poses you can get into as you are trying to impale attackers with a spear. You want to mix in some of the satyrs and fallens from, was it RJJD? I can't remember. Gosh, it slipped my mind, but they're available through Wargames Atlantic anyway. Might be an interesting mix with their paganistic, you know, style and feeling. Wanted to have some more of a supernatural element to it. So, I mean, yeah, overall, I gotta say, fun little kit. There's lots of bits there to mess around with. Lots of the Roman bits. And I think in terms of just generic adversarial models, I don't think you can really go wrong with these guys. They're very primitive if you wanted to play up that aspect of it. If you wanted to have them, you know, just decked out with swords and shields, I think that's a very easy thing to do. If you want to replace the shields with more generic fantasy ones, quite easy to take care of. If you wanted to have them fighting with improvised weapons from Fireforge, that's an alternate route you can take. You want to have them stomped by some of the Wadroon, or have them as a boss leading everybody into battle, that might be fun. So again, I think this is a really versatile kit. I think outside of the fact that maybe there's not any really ranged weapons, slings, bows, or anything like that, then again, I mean, they didn't use it as much necessarily, but that is something I think if you were to choose between maybe like this kit or the Dacians kit for just a very versatile set of figures to use in various tabletop escapades, I would lean a bit more towards the Dacians for their versatility. They've got the swords, shields, bow and arrows, command units, Whereas these guys, I think if you were going to just be really creative with them, there's a lot you can do here in terms of just the looks and how they end up painted, I think. So, what do I know? Or if you just want to have, badasses come and chop them all into pieces, that's always an option too. Anyway, we'll put a link down below. There's always new and interesting Victrix kits coming out if you haven't had a chance to take a look at their catalog. And I know they've been releasing quite a few new ones lately as well, so I'm going to probably have to get some more myself. And here's a random Reaper figure, just in case you wanted to mix things up with other tabletop ranges, and a WizKids figure. So you see, I think perfect size. Oh, duh. How can we forget the other important people here? I know we had talked about using them as like fanatics or zealots and flagellants or something like that in Warhammer. That might work. They are a little bit taller than the Frostgrave stuff, but I bet you can probably mix the Frostgrave bits in as well. So yeah, alright. We'll have a link down below if you want to check any of this stuff out from Victrix. Do take a look. They've got some really neat kits, blah, blah, blah. I already said that. And I am going to bid you all a fond farewell at this point because I can smell dinner cooking. With that said, this has been High Lord Tamberlane with Obscurities and Miniatures, saying thanks for watching, and we will see you back here soon. Bye-bye.